Man, this is Deion Dawkins, man. And you're listening to The Scoop on OurScoop.com. You already know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Scoop, the weekly podcast of OurScoop.com, the authority on Temple athletics. We are on to episode 41 already of our 11th season. I know that stresses Kyle out every time I just talk about.
I want a new season.
We're approaching it. We're talking to the cast. We're talking to the crew. We're looking at our budget. It's time.
We haven't been picked up for next year yet.
We haven't picked up for next year yet by ourselves. I'm your host, John DeCarlo. Kyle Gauss is with me, our fantastic assistant editor. No Ryan this week. Maybe we'll have him back at some point. But we've got some fun stuff to get into on this week's episode. You will hear part of my interview with Edwin Suarez Jr., the transfer forward from Weber State. OurScoop subscribers can read the story up on the site right now. You're going to hear part of my interview. Again, OurScoop subscribers get the whole thing. We're going to talk about the addition of 7'1" big man Christian Beam from Georgia State. So I'm talking about a lot about fans clamoring for bigs. They have another big man now. They have one more roster spot to fill. And then we'll talk more about Adam Fisher's team in the mailbag, as well as an important June recruiting cycle of official visits coming up for Casey Keeler's football team. And we'll get to the mailbag. The Scoop is brought to you, as always, by Greenspan and Greenspan Injury Lawyers. If you've been injured while on the road or the highway and the crash was someone else's fault, the insurance company is not going to be on your side. You need us, Temple Law grads, who will fight hard to get the compensation that you deserve. We only get paid if we win. So in Pennsylvania or New York, call us today at 215-261-7359. That's 215-261-7359. And you can find them on the web at greenspans-law.com. Kyle, are you depressed that the Sixers season is over and that the team just has no discernible direction moving forward, but also at the same time very happy about your Atlanta Braves?
I disagree with the notion they have no discernible future headed forward. I think people are a little too doomsday. I think in the end, you're still talking about a team that won like 65% of its games when it had its star players. You're just hoping against hope that those star players are somehow available. But to the Atlanta Braves point, yeah, but it's also a long season. I'm quite happy with the way they're playing, but yeah, it's a long season.
You are, I don't want to say unusually optimistic, but you are more optimistic about the Sixers than most people.
I'll say this, and by no means do I think that I am the most knowledgeable person or the most plugged in person. The NBA gives access to too many people. Like, it just does. Like, the NFL, like, it's hard to cover the NFL, right? It's sometimes it's hard to cover baseball, though that's gotten a little more lax. The NBA gives anybody that wants anything a credential, and it leads to a bunch of people who probably shouldn't have loud opinions having loud opinions on Twitter. And I think those type of people are the people that have been very, very doomsday, ignoring the fact that the Sixers still have, when healthy, like 2 top 20 players, and then like they have a ascending freshman or rookie that you really like going into the sophomore year with Edgecombe. Is it the best situation in the world? No. Does the East still kind of suck? Yes. So, like, end of the world, worst case scenario for the Sixers, they're not going to go and win 20 games next year. They'll probably win 45, 50 games. And I've watched so much bad basketball in my life that I'm not going to be upset with a 45, 50 win team.
You're not angry watching Jared McCain doing what he's doing right now. I know before he was not a regular part of their rotation, but what he's doing now doesn't anger you at all?
Sure, but these things' existence, like, I don't want to defend Daryl Morey, but like these things don't happen in silos. Like the real issue the real reason for that trade is that they're banking on VJ Edgecombe being the role that they want Jared McCain to be. Those two can't coexist in the backcourt with Tyrese Maxey. So at that point, you're saying that like Jared McCain's ceiling was to be a 28-minute game guy off the bench, and if you can get a first round pick for that. Obviously, games like last night hurt where he starts and you're doing this, but I think I am so high on VJ Edgecombe that like I will look back. I think you really want to complain about things like Julian Champagne, like all these other players that like they've just casted off that end up being role players elsewhere. Those are annoying because they have no bench this year, but it is what it is. I'm also, they've been eliminated for 2.5 weeks or whatever. I'm well past that. We're on to the summer. We're on to baseball.
Summer of Kyle, summer of Meg, summer of the kids. Will you ever coach soccer again?
No, I did not sign up for this year. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it to myself.
This became a major part of the pod for a while.
Yeah, I'm going to retire with my 3-9-1 record, I believe is what it was. But the 3 wins came in a row. We had a winning streak there in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no discernible segue out of that. Or do you have a segue out of that? Your soccer coaching career into Edwin Suarez?
Whereas the Braves have a reliever with last name is Suarez. So off we go. Braves beat Ranger Suarez last night. So
there we go. All right, that's a perfect segue. Nicely done, Kyle. So we talked previously on the pod here about Temple's addition of Edwin Suarez Jr., the 6'6", 205-pound forward from Weber State, from Reading, from Puerto Rico originally, and we'll talk about that a little bit down the line here. He's got a really cool story. Came over from Puerto Rico 8 years ago, he told me, and his family settled in that area. Went to Muhlenberg High School, played 2 seasons at Arizona Western Junior College, was a third-team All-American there. Played at Weber State, committed in the portal to East Texas A&M, decommitted a few days later, just told me things didn't work out. And now he's coming to Temple. Caught up with him over the weekend on Sunday. He was kind enough to make some time to talk to me down in the Dominican Republic. He's down there visiting family. So again, as I said in the intro, OwlScoop subscribers get access to the full interview and the full story, I should say, which includes more about his journey and how it's kind of come full circle. And it's really about like his parents just, believing in him, wanting to come to this country, and as cliche as it sounds, betting on himself. And so it's a really, really cool story, and wanted to play part of our interview. This is about the first 7 minutes or so of our conversation. Again, what you get with the rest of the story as a subscriber is just more about the detail about what led him to America, how his parents believed in him, took a shot in him. And as he said, now he's seeing the return on it. And we're going to play part of my interview here, and then we'll have more for you on the other side about this roster, and we'll get into a little bit of football in the mailbag as well.
Congratulations on signing with Temple. Tell me how it all came together. I know that you were initially committed to East Texas A&M. How did things come together with Temple?
First of all, thank you for your time and the space, for me to talk.
No problem.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
The answer to your question is that I was supposed to go to East Texas, and then things didn't go how they were supposed to. So I was committed, and then I started talking to my people again, my coaches from high school, and one of my trainers. They know the coach from Temple, and then they were like, I was talking to them. They were like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to a coach and let you know, because they hit me up before I committed to East Texas. They hit me up, but I still committed. Mm-hmm. And then after I committed, we got on the phone again, and when I told my coaches and stuff, they talked to the coach, and then that's how we came together with everything. I wanted to visit, and I loved it, and then I felt like it was a great space for me and for my family and for my future. So I was like, yeah, and I'm closer to him too. So I was like, yeah, it's a great opportunity here, and I just took it.
Who was the first person from Temple to reach out to you? Was it Adam Fisher, or was it one of the assistants?
I think it was one of the assistants. He hit up he was talking to my agent. Uh-huh. He asked about some other players, and then he asked about me.
When did you come on the visit to Temple?
The day after. The day after we got on the phone, which that was May 12th.
What was the visit like? I mean, was there like a moment on the visit when you kind of just knew, okay, this is the right place for me?
Not just I feel like just talking to the coach, like the energy, the vibe was great. Like the way he was talking to me, he kept to the bucket. Like he was straightforward. He just told me, like, he didn't tell me what I wanted to hear, and that's something that I like. Like I don't want people to lie to me. I want people to be honest to me, and that's exactly what he did. And he just Coach Fisher is a great coach, like great personality, and I feel like that was everything. Besides that, it's a great, it's a great campus. They got a great system, great gym. They got all that, but just talking to the coaches, just made it easier for me. To the coaches, not just one coach, to everybody, the whole staff. It was just great.
I know from talking to other guys, they've always told me that when they go to a visit at Temple, that the coaching staff really does a deep dive into their game, like the stats, all the measurables, and where they can get better. Did they do that with you? And if so, what did they tell you about your game and what they think is possible for you?
Yeah, they actually did that for me. That was something that I never seen that before. Like, as when I went my visits before, the only thing they did was just told me how I was going to fit into the team and stuff like that. But the Temple, they actually broke it down for me, and they told me everything.
Uh-huh.
Like what I gotta get better at, how I'm gonna fit into a team, like basically everything. They just broke everything down and put it on the presentations, and then we just talked through it, and then you just not like, they kept it above. They showed me the bad things that I be doing, the good things that I be doing, and that's something that I needed, because I really didn't know like that. But he showed me all the stats and everything, so like that's something that I love.
What does it mean to you just to be back playing closer to home? I mean, I know Reading's not right around the corner, but it's a lot closer to Reading's a lot closer to Philly than it was out at Weber State. What does it mean to just essentially be coming home?
It's a great feeling, because like I said before, I used to be like, I don't want to be near home because it's like I feel like it's a distraction and stuff like that. But then when I came on my visit, I was like, you know what? I think being close to home is gonna be good for me because it might be my last year. Hopefully, I get that 5th year. Who knows? I might get it. I might not. But my parents can come to games. My family, my coaches, everybody that I grew up with can come to games. That's something that it only happened when I was in high school. That everybody was coming to my game. When I was in Utah, nobody, because the flight was expensive and stuff like that. So only my girl came to see me. But I feel like it's gonna be great, for my mom, my dad, my family to come see me. I feel like it's something that is really important for me.
When you were on the visit, how long did it take for you to decide? Like, when did you let the coaches know that you wanted to commit to Temple?
I came on a visit and then I went home. I talked to my family because I came with my brother. I told him about the program, everything, how was the visit, how was the place, everything. And then I told him that, and I was like, the way I connect with the coach, like the way he was talking to me, the way he kept it real with me. He didn't lie to me. He told me what I didn't want to hear. So that's something that I really love. They're like, we follow whatever you said. If you said that's the great, just go. And then that's what I did. I just follow my gut. Like, I feel like that was a great school for me. And then, after like 4 hours, I called the coach. I was like, Coach, I'm ready to commit.
What was Adam Fisher's reaction when you called him and told him that you wanted to commit to Temple?
He was happy. He was super happy. He was like, let's work. Let's get to work. It was just a great energy.
When you look back at Reading, when you were coming out of Muhlenberg High School, you had a pretty good career there. But what was your recruitment like? Did you get any D1 interest, or did you know that you wanted to go to JUCO to keep playing and kind of bump up your recruiting profile? Like, how did it go for you coming out of high school?
So basically, I had a couple offers. Now, it wasn't like I was talking to a coach from St. John's in New York. Not this coach, the coach that used to be the coach that he used to be there. I was talking to him. I was talking to the BMI. I think it's Army School.
Yeah.
I was talking to them, and then a lot of D2 was hitting me up and stuff like that. But, I had a problem with my grades because I was taking ESL classes since, I came from Puerto Rico. I didn't know no type of English. So, I had to take ESL classes. After high school, that's when I realized that I wasn't NCAA approved.
Yeah.
So that's when everything went, that I started thinking about different, like going JUCO, going prep, and all that stuff.
When did you come over from Puerto Rico? How old were you?
I was, let me see, I was in 2018. I think I was 16.
Oh, wow.
15.
So you've only really been speaking English for the past 6 years?
That's 8 years. I've been here for 8 years, yeah.
Okay. What was that like when you come to a different country and you're learning a new language, and then, you've got to, you're a good enough basketball player, but I mean, if I were in your shoes and I moved to Puerto Rico and I had to learn Spanish and get eligible, I wouldn't have been able to do it. What was that like? Did you feel a lot of pressure just learning a new language and just the whole adjustment and everything?
Yeah, it was actually it was really hard. It just because I came to Reading, and Reading is a lot of Hispanic people.
Yeah,
everybody speaks Spanish, so like it wasn't as hard, but it was hard because the basketball team on the basketball side, everybody spoke English, so I had to. I was like, they used to tell me something, I was just confused. When I went on the tryouts, first time I was confused. I made the team because I guess I was a good player. I was a good player, but it was just hard. People were just talking. I was just there. Like, they laugh, I used to laugh too. If I see somebody laughing, I laugh too.
Yeah.
That's how I was doing it. It was just hard for me. But, you get used to it. And then I also got a couple of guys that I know that they knew Spanish and English, so they helped me out. They helped me out a lot.
Really cool to catch up with Edwin. And Kyle, you made the comparison last week that he might be kind of like a Relier Hollis Jefferson type, a guy that you hope will play bigger than his size, but is still maybe the right size, so to speak, to guard some of the players in the American that have given this team, given this program, especially this past year, some issues. There's a mailbag question a little bit later on about our way too early projected starting five, but kind of just to revisit this again, sounded last week you like the addition. Where do you think he fits in?
Yeah, I mean, by no means am I saying that he's going to go from a 21-minute game guy at Weber State to all of a sudden being a 35-minute game. You just run him out there and he's guarding 2 through 5 in the American. But I think at the very least he's proven that he's a Division I basketball player. Like, that he's put up good numbers at presumably a lower level of basketball than the American. But I think it's just another weapon that offers that flexibility. Because if you remember, if you want to rewind your mind 15 years ago, Relier Hollis Jefferson, a lot of times out of necessity, had to guard like true 4s and 5s when college basketball had true 4s and 5s. When you ran into a lot of guys who, like a lot of teams that were rolling out 6'9", 6'10" power forwards, and Relier Hollis Jefferson, kind of generously listed at 6'6", was able to use his wingspan to kind of be a startable 4. And there was one year where Fran essentially ran him out there as their starting 4 for 32 games. So, like I said, I don't think he's going to exactly have the same career, but I think he's the type of guy that, depending on matchup, maybe you see him start and do more on the ball defense. Maybe you see him more in the interior. I think there's flexibility there, which every college coach in 2026 is going to tell you that they want more positional flexibility out of their players.
What you didn't hear in the interview clip there, if you read the story on the site, he talks about his philosophy in terms of rebounding and just how much he appreciates the game. And so I think, again, we'll say this up until the start of the season in terms of trying to figure out what this roster is and is not going to be. Obviously, still getting to know this guy. I have a sense that he's a guy that the fans are going to, I think I said this about Dallas Toad. I think this is a guy that the Temple fans are going to like. So shifting gears a bit on the roster, we do have to talk about Cam Scott, the former 4-star recruit and transfer from South Carolina. Yes, he was arrested in Horry County, South Carolina, which is where Myrtle Beach is. He was charged with having an open container of beer or wine in a motor vehicle. I believe, Kyle, that there was some tweet out there that said he was operating a motor vehicle. I think we've been told by a couple sources familiar with the situation that is not true. So
correct. What are you going to do? Sue a Twitter account with 15 followers?
Yeah. So, but yeah, have we talked to Adam Fisher about this yet? No, I don't get any early indication that his status with the program is going to change.
No, they've let. I mean, for all we know, like I said, this is not sourced, but they've let players that have done worse things stay on the team. That have been fine. I don't think a open container violation. This is also one of those things that, like, I know this sounds terrible, but if he was truly in the back seat, if this was on like a road, like you just got an open container violation walking through Myrtle Beach, this would be a complete non-story. The fact that it's in a car makes it a little worse. But if he's always in the back seat or something like that, then I don't think there's going to be much, if any, repercussions, especially considering there's 5 months until the start of the season. This isn't something that happened a week before your tip-off, and you kind of have to let it play out. Because this is something that will probably be settled by the time the season starts, whether that's a plea deal or a community service or whatever it might be. The real moral story is don't go to Myrtle Beach. Go to Charleston. Just go somewhere else. Like, just go. Keep going.
I've never been to Myrtle. I've heard it's beautiful, but is it just?
Oh, I haven't been to Myrtle. I have not been to Myrtle Beach either. But I just hear so many things, and they call it Dirty Myrtle for a reason.
Like Ocean City, Maryland type of activity.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. Which is wild, because Ocean City, Maryland, like 15, 20 years ago, was like a very family-friendly place, and now it's just like, it's a little more rough.
What was your Downingtown High School senior week destination?
No, I went like 3 senior weeks. We did Sea Isle, we did Ocean City, New Jersey, and then the next year I went somebody else's senior week, and that was to, was it Avalon? Or
you did a post-grad senior week?
Oh yeah, I did a freshman. I just finished my freshman year at Temple. I'm trying to remember like shore points we used to go to growing up. Yeah, I mean my major one was Sea Isle, I believe.
Kyle Gauss from Fort Union Military Academy is here on senior week.
I was not opposed. When you're like a freshman in college, you're still like able to kind of do that, and then you get a little bit more of like to the high schoolers that you're trying to impress, you get a little more of like a bump up, like, oh, this guy came back from college for this, and I was home for the summer, and why not? Why wouldn't I go to a free shore house?
You know what? Who the hell am I to talk? I went to the year in 1999, the year after I graduated from college. I drove down to Daytona with a few other friends to do a spring break trip. We used my car, drove all the way down and back. And that was, I got back the day before or like the morning of Temple beating Kent State, I think, in the opening round of the tournament. That was an Elite Eight year for them. And then I remember, I think the following day, I had to drive up to the Dunn Center in Elizabeth to cover St. Augustine Prep in the New Jersey Parochial B State Championship game. Got a flat tire going over the Walt Whitman Bridge. I was like, well, I've just driven how many thousands of miles round trip. So, but yeah, I shouldn't be teasing you. I went on a spring
when
break
you're
trip
like
here
that
for
close, there's enough bleeding over. Like, you're friends with people that are still in that situation. If you all of a sudden, I mentioned this to Sam Cohen once, when I was like, you don't want to be like the 25-year-old that's still coming around to college things, but 23, you can do that.
I just imagine Sam Cohn. Although I imagine him walking around Temple's campus in a tweed sport coat with elbow pads.
Like, if you want, look, full disclosure, I pop into Temple's campus once or twice a year. I'll go get a beer at Maxie's. This will be fun.
Oh yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
You can't be the one that's like, I'm a 25-year-old and I'm still going to like Fontaine Street, like house parties. Like, you gotta move on at some point, man.
But circling back to Cam Scott.
To the arrest of Cam Scott.
Yeah, I get it. Do not know the young man yet. Reached out when he signed. Did not hear back. But as of now, again, just want to acknowledge it. Kyle and I have not heard anything that would lead us to believe that he's going to be dismissed from the program or anything like that.
I will say, if this happened in Pennsylvania, it's probably just a ticket. I'm surprised there was an actual like mugshot arrest.
Said we were going to talk about him in the intro, but let's talk about Christian Beam, the 7'1" center out of Georgia State. So I was either last week or 2 weeks ago. Wasn't like it was that long ago. I'm losing track of the episodes now. And I think I asked you and Ryan how concerned you were about the roster in terms of size and budget and all that stuff. And I think this is an intriguing ad for them. Again, I feel like we say that about a lot of these guys, but if you're going on highlights, and highlights are what they are, I think you're looking at a guy who looks and Temple fans who are just frustrated by the lack of front court play are going to say this is a low bar to clear, but a guy that looks a lot more comfortable around the rim on putbacks, moves around the basket than Mohamed Keita did. We've been told by a couple sources that Tennessee was involved with his recruitment in the portal, so potentially a good sign there. What do you make of this addition, Kyle?
We're a full disclosure podcast. I'd be lying if I said 10 days ago I knew who Christian Beam was. But once you kind of hear that things are happening and you start reviewing tape, I will say he's surprisingly more athletic than I expected for 7'1", 255. Like, he's not a statue in the paint. They ran some lobs for him. A very willing defender. I would say from that, I think you saw more of a rim protection, even though the blocks are there in bursts. Like, he definitely had blocks, but you didn't see all of a sudden this 7-block game at the Division I level. But I think he was willing to actually challenge people in the paint. He wasn't just letting people get shots off. It's interesting to me that he started, then got demoted, and then kind of worked his way back into it. He had a really good game against NIU. He had a good game against Marshall. He's a guy who, I was trying to rack my brain the last time I felt that Temple had a true interior presence of that size, and I guess it's Jameel Reynolds. Might have been the last time they had not a skinny center, a decently sized center. So this is the type of guy that if he had been, I think people are relatively reasonably excited about this addition. I think for good reason, because I think he is a guy who can definitely play at this level. If he had been an earlier addition, we wouldn't have heard all the mailbag questions over the last month and a half of, is Fisher going to run a 10-guard team? Where are the big guys? They were always going to get big guys. I think we get to this mailbag, I'm pretty sure they're still going to try to get another big guy. But yeah, right now I think this is a good addition. I think he's a guy that, I don't know if he starts, but he is playing in the rotation in 6 months.
Yeah, and 7'1", 255, averaged 3.2 points, 3.9 rebounds, shot a little bit better than 47% from the floor at Georgia State. It was a JUCO guy, so I guess he could get things go well, I guess he could get that 5th year after.
Yeah, I don't think the JUCO part has
season.
anything to do with it. If they pass the 5 for 5, which keeps getting punted down the lane, and you never know if that happens, then yeah, he would have another year coming up. But so would Edwin Suarez.
Yep. Yeah, and Edwin Suarez talked about, I think in that clip there you heard, maybe he'll get that 5th year, maybe he won't, but he's hoping for it. But yeah, Christian Beam, 2 double-figure games. Yeah, 10 points against Northern Illinois, 11 points and 8 boards against Marshall. So it sounds like Tennessee was recruiting him and wanted him maybe more as like a depth rotational guy. And whereas
instead they filled with old friend Christian Furman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Former one-time Temple recruiting target.
Yep.
Yeah.
Instead, he will get paid a lot of money to be a end of the rotation guy because he didn't really play at all last year, and now he's going to the SEC. So
yeah.
Okay.
So as Kyle said, 12 scholarship guys on the roster now. They have one more spot left to fill. Again, we'll talk about this a little bit more in the mailbag, but yeah, probably going to try. We'll see to fill with another big man there. Let's talk briefly about Casey Keeler's football team. If you're an OwlScoop subscriber, you can check out Mike Livingston's story on Sincere Hester. It goes by the nickname of Buddha. Story's up on the site now. That's one of the names I would keep an eye on as official visits come up next month. He's a 6'2", 230-pound edge rusher from Brooklyn's Eagle Academy football program. So on the football front too, I'll tell you guys, OwlScoop subscribers, we talked last week about having PJ Walker on the show. Part 2 of my interview with PJ. If you're an OwlScoop subscriber, by the time this podcast is out, you'll be able to go to the site and hear the second part of our interview there. But unless something goes horribly wrong for this program, I think June we're going to be a little bit busier with recruiting coverage, and that's where, as we've said in previous episodes, that's where they really kind of built the foundation of their class, fill out.
Right.
Really, the only real true flip for them was that tight end from Mainland,
Liam Fuller.
Yeah, who committed and then switched over to Penn about a week or 10 days later.
Oh, you're thinking of I'm sorry, Andrew. What's his name? Liam Fuller is the guy they flipped from UConn at the end of the year.
Yes,
Andrew, what was his name?
Why am I forgetting his last name?
It's one of those things that this sounds terrible, and I appreciate everyone that ever does an interview with me. A lot of these times, you interview these kids, I wrote an article about this kid. 4 days later, this kid flipped to Penn or whatever. I was like, great.
Yeah.
You couldn't have just given me a heads up that this wasn't worth my time.
Yeah. So, but yeah, June's going to be
Andrew Gilman.
Andrew Gilman, yeah. So,
and then they had Chris Hilliard, the North Carolina defensive tackle that committed early, flipped to Old Dominion, but that was just from what I understand.
Oh yeah,
he got homesick, and then they had John Patrick Oates from LaSalle, who ended up going to. Originally, he flipped to JMU, and then he went to Virginia Tech with James Franklin.
Oh gosh, I don't even think I was aware of that.
Yeah, he's going to VT.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, good for him. So, just one verbal in the book so far for Temple with Tykees Barnes from Pleasantville High School. Kyle, again, if you're an OwlScoop subscriber, Kyle started the thread in our football forum about the official visitors who are coming up. We will keep you updated there. Again, if there are any one-on-one interviews we get with some of the visitors who are coming in, it's another reason to subscribe. So we'll make sure that you get your money's worth all the time, but especially next month, things are going to start to get pretty busy on the football front. And again, if you're an OwlScoop subscriber, you can enjoy the second part of my interview with former Temple, NFL, CFL, XFL quarterback PJ Walker.
Oh, I meant to bring this up last week. There have been 3 seasons of the XFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
There have been 3 different passing touchdown leaders in those 3 years. Do you have any idea who they are?
Well, was PJ the leader?
PJ's one. That's why I bring it up. So good context clues. I'll give you other hints. The other years were 2002 and 2023. So it was 2002, 2020, which was PJ Walker, and 2023 of the 3 years of the XFL, which is a great sign.
The other two quarterbacks. Wait, did you say 2002?
Yeah, it was the first year of the XFL.
And then that was the Rod.
And shut down for 18 years.
That was the He Hate Me year.
Yes.
Rod Smart, who went on to play with the Eagles.
Yep.
Wow,
You're on the right track. I wouldn't just have some random guy you didn't know.
Who would the XFL's leading passer have been in 2002?
This is going to be a no shit moment for you.
Can you give me a clue?
He has a close last name, but not the same last name, to the greatest pitcher of all time.
Is Greg Maddux your greatest pitcher of all time? Tommy Maddox?
Tommy Maddox.
Wow.
Tommy Maddox went a year in the XFL, and then from that, parlayed that into he was
Okay.
competing with Cordell Stewart, and then ended up winning the Steelers job.
So we've got Tommy Maddox, PJ Walker, and then in 2023 we're talking about?
Yes, 2023.
Was this a guy that also played in the NFL?
Yes, but not well. I will give you the College of Bama. And he was older when he did it. It wasn't like he was right out of college. And he is currently a head coach in the UFL.
Oh, come on. Well, it's not AJ, what's his name, is it?
It is AJ McCarron.
Oh, wow. Okay.
AJ McCarron spent the 2023 year in the XFL and threw for 24 touchdowns.
It's a good trivia question.
And yeah, and then PJ Walker in 2020.
Wow.
PJ threw in that year, he threw for 15 touchdowns in just 5 games because the XFL got shut down due to, global pandemic.
Some elite trivia knowledge by you. That's good. It's good stuff. Good stuff. All right, we're going to hop into the mailbag here as we do each week. Before we do, you're going to hear from our friend Mike Greenspan of Greenspan and Greenspan Injury Lawyers. If you need an injury lawyer, he's your guy. But Mike also wants to keep you safe on the roads and in life so that you don't need his services, ideally. So here's our weekly tip from Mike, and then we're going to hop into the mailbag here to answer a few questions.
Have you checked your vehicle's tire pressure recently? If you're driving around on low tires, you're going to have a problem. More likelihood of a blowout or a failure if you hit an object while driving. So check out your tire pressure. And remember this, don't look at what it says on the wheel. Instead, each of our cars generally has a sticker on the inside of the driver's door which tells you what the appropriate level of inflation is for your vehicle. So don't go by what it says on the tire, go by what it says on the door. This is just another way to keep you safe on the roadway. Go Owls.
All right, our first question here comes from an Owl Scoop subscriber. The screen name is Owl Worldwide. Question here is, now that the roster is largely complete, what is your way too early starting 5 and why?
I want you to go first.
Provided he rediscovers his confidence here, I think you can plan on Gavin Griffith starting. And I think you can plan on Jordan Marsh starting. Those are two I feel pretty confident in. Beyond that, I'm going to go Dallas Dillard as my third starter. And then I just don't know how he fills out the rest of the starting lineup here. If it's off the top of my head, could be recency bias. I think I'll start Edwin Suarez because of the defensive and rebounding versatility. He's a good offensive rebounder. And let's say they start Christian Beam.
I think I'm going to say Jordan Marsh, Deuce Drake, Dallas Dillard, Gavin Griffiths, Sir Isaac Heron. I think Des White's the 6-man instant offense off the bench.
Yeah.
And I think Edwin Suarez, Christian Beam, and Babacar are also very firmly in the rotation, play plenty of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Cam Scott's the question mark of, does he finally tap into that top 50-ish prospect potential, and does he kind of force his way in there? If so, he's got the length and the size that maybe he starts over a Deuce Drake or a Dallas Dillard. But I think as of right now, I would give those two the players at the end the inside track over him.
As Fran Dunphy used to say, appreciate the question, but it
doesn't matter who starts.
Well, I wasn't even going to say that. It is a way too early but fun question to answer. And I think that it's fun. It's a logical question to answer, but the summer and the fall get fun because then you start poking around, you start talking to people, and there's always someone, whether it was a couple of years ago. Again, now he has obviously since moved on to Ball State, but a couple of years ago, it was like, Baba looks, wiser beyond his years. Like he might start. If you start Deuce Drake and Jordan Marsh, you have two capable ball handlers on the court right away. Maybe Cam Scott, and again, we're literally just partially throwing stuff against the wall here. Maybe Cam Scott comes in and he responds to the system well, responds to these coaches well. And sometimes you'll hear people say, this kid's too good to keep off the floor right away. So it is a way too early look at the starting 5. Again, reminding everybody they have one more roster spot to fill. Do I think it's going to happen? No, because he's a true freshman, but it'll be interesting to see what people make of Derek Morton Rivera when he gets to campus. Again, we've been saying for several weeks, and we've mostly had guards to talk about, but with the guards that they have brought in, they look like good additions. So I think it would be hard for Derek Morton Rivera to come in and start right away. But in the summer and into the fall is when you start hearing like, hey, this guy has just picked up the system right away. He's defending well. He's rebounding well. Seems to get it. He's coachable. So, yes, way too early question, but I like it. We're going to go through several iterations of the starting lineup here in the prognostication, but that's part of what makes it fun. So if you guys want to throw some questions at us and of that variety, like X factor type, leading rebounder, we're here for it. So next question we got was a Twitter DM. And this is in reference to the survey that was done by Darian Sterling. He's a former UTSA cornerback, who's now an independent college football analyst, putting stuff out on Substack. So in case you missed it, he did a fan survey of the athletic directors in the American. So I'm not sure what his sample size was, but here's what he reported for Temple. Among Temple respondents, 0% approved of Arthur Johnson and 100% disapproved. The average communication score was a 1 out of 10, the lowest mark in the survey. On visibility, 44% of the respondents said they wanted more visibility. 48% said they do not care much about AD visibility. The top reason behind the rating was overall athletic department direction, followed by NIL/revenue share strategy. Top priority was NIL/revenue share fundraising, followed by basketball investment. So the Twitter DM we got, the question was, is a 0% approval rating not good? And if the only stated goal is we want to win championships and you're the only school to not win championships in your conference, that's not entirely accurate, but is that also not good? Again, I'm not sure where Darian's sample size was here. And I mean, he's doing some interesting work. I would check out his work on Substack. Again, it's Darian Sterling, former UTSA football player. He said in his piece that, that this is not like a perfect survey here. This was not, I don't think he got a sample size of like 500 or 1,000 people here. So on one hand, I do want to recognize the limitations of it, but no, 0% approval rating is not good
it's not ideal.
Not ideal. And to your second question here, if the only stated goal is that we want to win conference championships, no, it's also not good. Temple, other than their fencing program, which has of course been very, very good, Temple has not won a conference championship since the 2016 football conference championship. So that is a span that, you got to throw Pat Kraft into the mix there. The end of the Pat Kraft era, the interim AD Fran Dunphy era, and then of course the Arthur Johnson era, which started in 2021.
Yes, the year they fired Ron Carey.
So yeah, not ideal.
Not great. The interesting to me, and I tend to agree, is that 48% of people don't care about visibility of an athletic director. I don't give a crap about the visibility of an athletic director. I care about just results on the field, and because you can communicate without being visible. Like I don't need Arthur Johnson to take questions from every Jim and Joe, right? I just need you need to put out full disclosure of this is what we're up against. This is how much we're able to fundraise. This is how much we're not able to fundraise. This is where we need to focus. The lack of an NIL revenue share strategy always sticks out to me, and apparently stuck out in this survey as well. I don't think this is necessarily surprising. Anybody that's on Twitter has seen. Yeah. I'm sure Arthur Johnson is very aware of people's opinions of him on Twitter.
Yeah. That's it for this week. Lighter mailbag. Do not see anything else on Twitter or on the message boards here.
I think we should have a week or two off as a summer break for people to, when we come back for another season, assuming we get picked up, for them to have a couple weeks to think of a mailbag question. We're going to be on Tubi. We're not even going to be on network television.
Look, Tubi on a slow night when you're looking around, I think Tubi's underrated.
Do you ever mess with Pluto TV? Do you ever see that come up? The free television that'll come on Samsung?
I have, and then I think Chell cleaned up our apps on TV. I don't know.
It'll be here's the Real Housewives of Birmingham, Alabama channel, and they'll play it for 24 hours straight.
Before we sign off for this week, does Meg watch a reality show that she has roped you into?
Oh yeah, we've talked about this. Tonight we'll be watching the Summer House reunion. We watched Vanderpump Rules. There's some stuff that I refuse to get into with her. But unfortunately, Summer House and Vanderpump Rules did find their way into my realm.
I didn't know until a month ago that there was now a Real Housewives of Rhode Island. The insults and the fights are absolutely positively hilarious.
I always wonder how much of that is all natural and how much of that is people playing up for the camera. But regardless,
find out next week.
Yes, I will say these shows drag things out for now. They'll tease a fight for like 6 weeks, and they'll finally come up and be like, "Oh, the clips you made seem like these people came to a physical altercation." In reality, they just yell at each other for 20 seconds and then moved on. So when we do our reality television show, when we get picked up on, we're gonna get picked up on like Allegiant Air's internal television.
Could
you want to fly from Trenton to Marco Island? You're gonna see us.
What a flight! Do you think you would thrive in like an Andy Cohen type of role where like you get people together for the reunions and you just
he gets a little toasty and he just tries to get them to say things? Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I'm a listener.
You could also be like Andy Cohen on New Year's Eve with Anderson.
Oh, yeah. When they started having like FCC violations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be good at that. I think I'd be in a situation where people open up to me. I'm very warm. And
you're a good pot stirrer.
I think I'd be too tempted to like interject my opinions. Like, your base instinct, wrong, right?
No real reason for you to make this decision. Your thoughts. All right. Well, thanks to Edwin Suarez for giving me some time this past week. New recruiting information to pass along. We will certainly be talking about in the future. Talk to you soon.